Well, what Harry is doing is spilling out in public all his personal hurt and anger, in particular about other members of his family. The book is called Spare for a reason, that old thing about the heir and the spare. He clearly feels this very, very deeply. And so there is a traditional, if you like, sibling rivalry going on, a very intense one. But I think by pushing this so far and making so much so public, he's turned that into a genuine crisis for the monarchy. Harry's doing it now because of his long-standing and almost paranoid loathing of the British media, and in particular the tabloid newspapers. Now, I say paranoid, but I can see exactly why he's paranoid. His account of the way the paparazzi behaved around the crumpled wreck of that Mercedes in a French tunnel as his mother was lying, bleeding out, and no doubt in agony, strapped in the back. They weren't helping her, they were photographing her. That kind of knowledge, and then the memory of being pursued by similar people all his life, whatever he's doing, would drive anybody mad. And I think he has decided to take on what he sees as this evil black octopus of the media. The problem, of course, for him, as he has acknowledged in a sense, is that it's not out there, it's not beyond there, it's inside the family, it's on the breakfast table.
Certain members of the family and the tabloid press, those certain members have decided to get into bed with the devil.
It's the briefings, he thinks, are given by other members of his family, people very close to him, in particular Camilla the Queen consort, to the media. That's what he thinks. So he's trying to rip out, as it were, the octopus from the family around him. Now, I'm an intellectual snob. I've been trying very, very hard for a very long time to avoid this story. It's tittle-tattle. I don't want to know about Harry's buttocks or Harry's todger or anything like that. But I have to acknowledge, having watched the interview with Tom Bradby, which Tom did very, very well indeed on ITV, this is a more thoughtful, interesting man whose allegations, I think, can't just be dismissed and pushed to one side as tittle-tattle. They are much more than that. If what he says is remotely right, then the relationship between aspects of the British media and the House of Windsor is corrupt and shameful. And they have to respond to that allegation, I think. If he's wrong, then what he's doing is an absolutely shameful smear, and he should never be able to come back from it. But he's certainly raised the stakes in the most extraordinary way. I think it's really, really dangerous for people like me or anybody to predict the end of the monarchy or this is going to be a catastrophe for the monarchy. People keep saying it, and it's never quite true. Because let's be honest, for millions and millions of British people, the monarchy has been a source of sustenance and sort of mental nourishment. It's been something that they have depended upon on sort of quiet, cold, lonely days, and they don't want to see it done down. The tabloid editors, by and large, understand that's how their readers feel, or many of their readers feel. That's why they're being so hostile to Harry at the moment. So I don't think there is going to be any sudden collapse of the British monarchy. But there is a real danger for it of a slow shrivel, a waning of support, particularly among younger people, and therefore, in time, a waning of support for the funding of the British monarchy. And that's what they have to think about. So I think this is quite serious for them. I think it's a very, very bad moment. I think it could overshadow aspects of the coronation on which Charles depends so heavily. I think the best thing that they can do is to start to respond in a human way. Harry has changed the game entirely. The old motto, never explain, never complain, just get on with it, button up, say nothing, just keep going. No longer, after these Harry interventions, seems enough. So we have seen Harry now. He's the first royal in the sense that we have seen as an entire passionate human being spilling his guts out. We don't agree with everything. I don't agree with a lot of what he said. And we can respond to him emotionally. In a way, frankly, we can't respond emotionally to William or to Camilla or indeed to the King because we don't know them in that way. Perhaps it's time for somebody inside the palace to think radically about, OK, we have to let the guard down further. He has thrown this challenge out. We can't just leave it there. We have to pick up the gauntlet. I've always described myself as a queenist rather than a monarchist because I don't really believe in the sort of bloodline, spiritual hierarchy that monarchy does. But for me, the Queen has always been part of my life. She's been there in the background, on the notes, around me. as it were, a sort of cadet member of my own family. I think a lot of people feel this. There was an emotional connection. I lost my mother last year, and my mother was not only about the Queen's age, but at different times in her life looked a little bit like the Queen, so there was probably some strange kind of maternal tug there. But so far as the monarchy is concerned, we are now in a different place. If it's the case that other members of the royal family, the senior members, are doing what Harry claims they're doing, which is thinking relentlessly and endlessly about their own self-interest, their own status in the hierarchy, and to that end, briefing poisonously against other people anonymously through press contacts. If that's how they really behave, then I, for one, don't want anything to do with that, or them. That would really turn me against the entire institution, and I suspect I'm not alone in that.